So everything's been going better than expected. So we've had the first 2 weeks, and I think what I love so far is the the role players coming back from last year have not only embraced their role, but they're looking to expand it. And so when role players try to expand their role, they might actually be touching on someone else's role. So that's drive and the energy and practice and the competitiveness is very healthy throughout the last 2 weeks. And which is, these are good things for coaches to have, that, the guys aren't sulking. And I feel like it's the opposite. And what we had with this team so far is a level of communication that I've never seen before, where guys are talking not just on defense and offense, but off the floor about what potentially could happen at a different angle, or maybe they should have kicked out when they drove in against three guys, and but not accusatory, almost offering a solution.
I think the practices have been really really good. I'm of the belief that players don't have bad practices, only coaches do, and so the kids work extremely hard. Right now in our situation, we split time with our boys basketball team, and so we're big on the other parts of our program, such as a study hall, and then being able to use the gym for hour and 15 minutes. And so we make the best of that time. And um, the practices have been really, really good. Buy-in is in our program just based on the efficiency of practice. We don't have time to waste, and so we aren't doing a lot of talking. We aren't doing a lot of standing as coaches. And players are moving and active and understand the breakdown drills. And system-wise, what we're installing has been simple and effective. And so everyone's able to or capable of learning what we do rather quickly.
A lot of times in the warmer climates that we've spoken to, when you don't get gym time because you have to share it with volleyball and girls basketball, they'll get outside and start doing some conditioning. And I'm curious, if that's what you guys do, and then how does that work if you don't have gym time early in the season?
So we do have to share the gym with the girls volleyball team, but we've been blessed with this gorgeous fall in New York. So what we've been doing is actually a lot of track work, and I've actually brought the weights outside. So we just done some weightlifting on the sidewalks near the school, and then we've also gone to the track to just do some, just some simple sprints, but also some quick footwork exercises.
Well, in Florida now, if you are sign your team up as an AAU or USSSA team and you're playing in an event, you can basically do, practice for that event. So we did some of that. We worked a lot offensively during that period, and then obviously we were still doing our conditioning and track work and all that kind of thing as well. But we'd have morning workouts where we were, being able to get in the gym some.
Okay, so you're on the track as well. You're doing, anything specific that you guys are doing out there that you find helpful for conditioning?
I got a program from Bill Ferran that was it's the Miami Heat's strength conditioning coach years back, that had a lot of interval work, weight room work. So it starts out sort of longer 400s, 200s, and then once you get close to the season, then you're in the gym working on more basketball type sprinting. It's worked out well. It's about an 8-week program.
We are a program that believes in conditioning throughout the year. So it's not just once we get back to school, we start conditioning. We condition throughout the summer. Now, we are very, very cognizant of burnout. And so we have a conditioning coaching staff. And they put together a really good package for the kids to follow, and they lead them through it. We're big. And I mean, we spend so much time on our stretch routine in our program, and so that correlates with our strength and conditioning program. A lot of running, a lot of weightlifting, but everything is done through periodization.
When you're running your practices, how organized are they? Do you have a plan and it's out to the minute and everything is timed exactly right?
So it's more or less like on Sundays, I'll break down the week, looking at how many hours we're going to have, and if it's in the morning practice, afternoon practice, and I write down the 4 or 5 different practice plans. But there's always a segment in there where we'll need to go over something again because it just didn't stick, or there's a wrinkle, or there's always something. And then guys will always ask questions like, what happens if they trap the screen, or what happens if this guy slips through. And we also want different guys playing the different positions so they can understand, for example, like when we run out of bounds plays, all 5 guys play all 5 positions. So, and we're just working out the kinks, but also how it feels to set that screen, and also how to come off that screen correctly.
I do have a practice plan. However, I think one of the most effective things that you can do as a coach is put the ball out sometimes and allow the kids to just play. And then what happens is you will read and watch what they do and what they can't do. And that will help you develop your practice plan just based on what you see your players struggling with. And then you proceed to tackle the line items that your team is struggling with.
We do have a practice plan, but I'm more of a coach by feel type guy, so I want to see things done right. So I don't put a time per se. There are certain things in the practice that we will time, competitive drills and such. But when it comes to the team skills and team, the system type stuff, I want to see it. I have an idea of the way it's supposed to look, and I want to see it done that way. So I'm not strict to the time as much as sort of by feel.
Communication. I think the players lack the communication, and so I thought last year we did a pretty solid job of communicating on the floor. Communication is on defense and offense, and a lot of the kids returned and did not retain it, and so reteaching that, trying to get them out of that, not being lazy, but just lousy communicators, and getting them to talk. I mean, they talk when they're changing. You hear them in their locker room, and they get out on the floor, and everyone's quiet. And so we've been drilling in the talk. We don't want them to stop communicating. And so that's been the number one thing for our group, is trying to become the number one talking team in the country.
Well, I don't know about you, but for me, even though it's sort of my job, going through game footage is tedious, and it's the worst part of my job that I don't like the most. And I'm wondering, do you have that issue? Is it as tedious to you going through game footage as it is for me?
Oh, sorry, Coach Nick, but I actually love game footage. It's one of the things that I could probably watch basketball more than I could do anything else, and watching video of my own team is actually a blessing. So we watch a lot of film, and actually I find watching my own team that I learn more about myself, and sometimes I'm watching my body language on the bench, but also watching the body language of my bench, because the bench is the window to the soul of a team. But you can pick up so many different things that you just don't see when you're just watching the game.
Oh, for sure. But then imagine this: if you use a company like Crossover, who will actually, you can upload the footage to them, and they'll cut it up for you, get it all organized, and get it back to you pretty quickly. Just imagine how much time that saves and how much more efficient that is for when you actually want to go through the film. And you don't have to sit there editing and chopping up and spitting out stuff.
What Crossover can do is actually probably save your marriage. It'll just shorten the time that you actually spend there. So, definitely a fan.
So you're out there with your coaches and you guys are just encouraging it. I mean, is there anything specific? Let's just say we're talking about defense. What are you having them say or yell, and how loud? And are there techniques that you're using to get them to be louder or better communicators?
So we want them to talk about everything, anything and everything. And so because we're in practice and they know each other so well, when you close out, you're either closing on a non-shooter, a driver, a passer, any of those things are good. And so some of them may mean the same thing, but we don't care. We just want you to talk. And so, let's say I'm closing out on someone that can't shoot. When I'm closing out, I'm yelling out passer or pass, or drive. We just want them to get into good habits of communicating. And so then that weak side man is getting closer to their man, or anticipating a pass, and that changes their position and their angles in regards to where they should be.
Do you punish your players if they do something wrong? Are you like blowing the whistle, getting them on the line, and having them run suicides, or how does that work when you need to discipline?
Well, Coach, what's the capital of Uzbekistan?
I don't know.
Well, there we go. So should I make you run 10 suicides because you made a mistake and you didn't know the answer? I think what happens a lot in teaching and learning is that we're maybe conditioned to punish quickly, but instead of just saying, well, what is the capital and why is it the capital? I think sometimes coaches are quick to punish, quick to make kids run suicides because we're in the gym. As a history teacher, I can't really make my kids do push-ups or jumping jacks in the classroom. So I think, so what the quick answer is no, there's no punishment. Maybe we just run the drill again until we get it right. And then just slow it down. And if guys aren't getting it, then we can revisit it because guess what? There's going to be practice tomorrow.
No, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it punishment, but we definitely want to hold guys accountable. And, like I said, we're trying to build a foundation of a culture. So we want to keep kids, help them understand what the core values are, like, extreme effort, paying attention to details. So those things are reinforced by, team running, which eventually will take the accountability from coaches to players to player, which is really what you want.
And I think with so much with punishment is you've had a lot of scandals and with coaches kind of losing their minds. And I think that one of the coolest things that any coach can think about doing is it's like the pit and the pendulum, right? You increase the anxiety of a player when he knows that if he doesn't do it right, they're going to be punished. And so this atmosphere is not conducive to learning. So you want to have a gym, and I say this all the time, that the gym is the best classroom in school because you have 12 to 16 guys or girls that just love the game, and they're your best students. They're there after school, hungry, tired, injured, and they're there to work hard. And so you can do anything you want, but not punish.
Wow, that's very well said. I'm glad that I hear that you had that philosophy, and hopefully people take that into heart a lot more as we jump cut to Coach Hurley's practices. But he's going to come on the show, I think, one of these days. I'm going to try and get him on. But let's talk about favorite drills. Do you have any drill that you just love when you run it, and it's such a good drill? Maybe you even came up with it. Is there anything that you run that really gets you going?
I think at this point, actually, I have no footnotes and no bibliography to my drills. Sometimes I forget where I've gotten them, and I'm not sure where they come from or if they evolved. And but this one is a simple 2 versus 6 drill. And so there's 2 guys with the ball, and their object is to go from one end of the court to the other. They can't dribble, and the court is segmented into 3 different sections. So one section, the guys on defense can go from baseline to maybe the 3-point line. And it's just hard defense, and it works on cuts, it works on catching the ball, it works on being tough when you catch the ball. And so the next segment, the guys would get over the 3-point line, they'd meet another 2 fresh pair of defenders, trying to V-cut, L-cut, just get open. And as they get through the drill, the idea is they get a layup or at least a shot in the paint.
I have quite a few. Probably the thing that would be a little bit different than most people would be the warm-up that I got from watching the Bulls practice, the Tech's winter warm-up that basically has all the essence of the offense, spacing, timing, court awareness, footwork, all within maybe a 10-minute warm-up 4-line drill that we do every day. And I tell them that I can tell who can play the game just by watching the warm-up because they have to be aware of all the players around them and the spacing. So it's a pretty cool drill.
I'd say our Olympic shooting drill, some people call it four corners, because you get your passing, your sprinting, you get your catching, your shooting, your layups, your jump shots, you get your communication, people are talking, you get a lot of different angles, a lot of different nuances to the game, whether it's a shot fake and then one dribble or two dribble. You get to put all of that into one drill. So I think that would be one of my favorite drills. I don't want to say it's just my absolute favorite, but you get so much done in one drill.
How about this? Do you have any rituals into practice that you do all the time, every day? The players come in, they know, okay, here's this thing that we do. It could even be like something you say to the players every day to start to practice.
I mean, our practice structure is very similar from day to day. We will meet and we'll have a thought of the day or whatever. A lot of times from Twitter, I'll pull something from Twitter that I've seen that's really poignant that they'll appreciate. We're always going to have the same format. With the fundamental drills, we have a rotation for each skill of drills that will rotate in and out depending on the day. But it's really broken down very similar. Now, when we get into the season, it'll change a little bit. We'll do a lot more controlled scrimmage type stuff. We're breaking things down in real game time.
I'm not superstitious in regards to we have to do XYZ drill first and third, and then this is what I end on. I don't like boring practices. I like upbeat, everybody enthusiastic about being in there, and so I don't necessarily like to follow just a strict script, but we do have things that we want to get done throughout the day.
Well, there's definitely, we meet in the circle, and we'll maybe just talk about the daily events, what happened, and it can be anything from somebody did well in class, because teachers are always emailing me and asking me questions about the boys. So it can be anything from that, news. So it can be praise, but also can be if someone was sleeping in class or something didn't do their homework. It can be that part of it, but also just kind of going over the week and the daily, and maybe I actually tell them what kind of practice they anticipate.
Well, fantastic stuff. I'm looking really forward to seeing some game footage coming up as you get going to your season. So thanks so much for coming on the show and giving us this great insight. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?
Oh, I'm definitely in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
All right.